A company may decide to reward its shareholders by either paying dividends or initiating share buybacks. So we're talking about stock buybacks versus dividends. Which one is better for investor? Which one is better? Is it stock buybacks or is it dividend? Which particular one is better for investors? So stock buybacks and dividends and payments are both methods companies use to return capital to shareholders, but they differ in how they operate and impact shareholders. And so this is a breakdown, of the key differences between, dividend payments and share buybacks as it relates to which one is preferable. You know, number one is the nature of the payouts. Nature of the payouts. So for stock buybacks, a company repurchases its own shares from the open market, reducing the number of shares outstanding. All right. So this action increases the value of remaining shares and can boost stock prices. Then for dividend payments, a company distributes a portion of its profits directly to shareholders in cash or additional shares, often on a regular basis. It might be quarterly, it might be annually, it might be semi-annually, as the case may be. Number two, impact on shareholders. Impact on shareholders. Let's look at the impact of stock buybacks on shareholders. The shareholders do not receive immediate cash payments. Instead, they benefit from the potential increase in share values due to their reduced number of shares. If they choose to sell their shares, they can realize, capital gains. So for dividend payments, shareholders receive direct cash payouts, which they can either reinvest or use as income. Dividends are a straightforward form of return for shareholders who prioritize immediate income, maybe like retirees. Number three, effects on the stock price. Effects on stock price. Let's look at the effect of stock buybacks as well as even dividend payment on stock price. So for stock buybacks, by reducing the number of shares outstanding, buybacks can increase earning per share, which often leads to an increase in stock price. The price may also rise due to the impact, of is that perception that the company believes that the shares the stock is undervalued. So that perception actually is a very good one because it will attract other investors into the company. And so for dividend payments, a dividend tends to lower the stock price by amounts of the dividend paid on the ex-dividend dates as the company cash reserve decreases. However, consistent dividend can make the stock more attractive to income-seeking investors. So dividend attracts income-seeking investors, whereas buybacks may not. So number four, tax implications. Tax implications. So for stock buybacks, buybacks are often more tax efficient for shareholders, compared to dividends. And this is because of the fact that buybacks, normally will create capital gains from an increase in stock price and are typically taxed at a lower rate than dividends in many jurisdictions. The shareholders are taxed when they sell the stocks. They are only taxed when they sell, but for dividends, actually, they are taxed whenever they receive the dividends. So for dividend payment, dividends are typically taxed as income, often as at a higher rate than capital gains. This means shareholders may pay dividend taxes on dividend payments compared to the potential capital gains from buybacks. So usually for the capital gain, if you don't sell, you don't get to pay anything. If you hold the stocks for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you don't pay anything on capital gain. But for the dividends, you pay as often as the dividend comes in, and you could be charged at a higher tax bracket. If you're in a higher tax bracket, you get to pay more tax. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Number 5 is on company's perspective. So for stock buybacks, companies use buybacks to boost stock prices, improve financial metrics like earning per shares and return on capital. When they believe that their stock is undervalued, or when they have excess cash to spare. So buybacks can also be used as a tool for managing ownership concentration. Then for dividend payments, companies with stable cash flow and a commitment to providing income to shareholders may prefer regular dividends. So dividends significantly, usually when it comes to dividend payments, it tends to significantly signal the fact that the company is healthy, all right, and it's in the position to constantly provide profits, share part of its profit with the shareholders in the form of dividends. Number 6 is flexibility. Then for stock buybacks are more flexible as companies can decide to repurchase shares based on market conditions and their financial situation. So they are not obligated to repurchase shares regularly. It's not an obligation. Then for dividend payments, dividends are typically expected to be paid regularly. While companies can adjust, or suspend dividends, doing so may signal financial distress or lack of stability, which could, negatively affect investor confidence or sentiment. Number 7 is long-term impact. For stock buybacks, while buybacks can improve financial metrics and stock prices, in the short term, they may not always contribute to long-term value creation. That's something you must take into consideration. In the long term, it may not really create value for the company. If a company is using buybacks to artificially inflate stock prices or repurchasing them at higher prices, the long-term benefit could be limited. A company is supposed to repurchase its shares when the shares are considered undervalued, not when the shares are overvalued. Okay, and so when it comes to dividend payments, regular dividends may help attract long-term income-focused investors. However, if a company faces financial challenges, cutting dividends may signal trouble, affecting long-term shareholder sentiment. And so in summary, stock buybacks here, kind of return capital by repurchasing shares, potentially increasing earning per shares, and also the stock price. And it's more tax efficient and can, be flexible and signals a kind of undervaluation. And for dividend payments, actually dividend usually, returns capital in the form of direct cash payments. provides regular income for shareholders, subject to higher taxes, and signal, a kind of stable financial health. So both buybacks and dividends have their benefits, and companies may use either or both to meet shareholders' expectations. So depending on their goal and of course depending on their financial strategy. So a company that can buy back its shares and also is able to pay dividends, that company has a very strong fundamentals and should not be overlooked when it comes to investing.